How is it going, everyone? It's Johnny Beard here with another episode of the Streamer Stories podcast. My guest today, it's a fellow Welshie, an awesome one at that. I've got Peeceful with me. Here he is.
Hi.
How you doing, man? It's so good to see you.
Yeah, I'm very good. I'm good. I'm so glad that we managed to do this. I know I messed you around a little bit, but we got there in the end.
No. You're a busy guy, that's for sure. That's one thing I definitely know about you. So I'm glad that you've taken the time out, man, to have this chat, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. It's fun.
So we've known each other. God, goodness me, we've known each other for about 18 months now. That's crazy. But for those who don't know, Peeceful, do you want to give us a bit of a? Do you want to introduce yourself to anyone who doesn't?
Yeah,
know?
sure. My name is Peeceful. I am a content creator from South Wales. I've been creating content for over 5 years now. Been partnered on Twitch for about 3. And I currently work for a company called Ludio, which is working on integrating and bridging the gap between creators and communities. So yeah.
That is awesome. Again, I've seen from the outside a few bits and pieces of what you've done with that, and I'm sure that'll come into conversation later on. That's such a really cool project.
Really exciting. Yeah, it's really cool.
Awesome, man. But yeah, we'll get to that later because we want to start at the beginning. So, baby Peeceful, and by the way, I love that your avatar, man. That with it's so cool. So it actually kind of looks really cool with that. So let's talk about baby Peeceful. So what?
Which one?
Your logo basically. With the,
okay.
The dragon from How to Train Your
On
Dragon, is it?
Toothless?
Yes, Toothless.
Yeah. I had the tattoo I had the tattoo done that was my first one that I had done. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but yeah, basically it's just it's me on Toothless.
It's
so pretty cool.
That's so cool.
I don't know if I should have branded myself, but yeah.
No. So yeah, let's talk about games then as a kid then. So what are your earliest memories of seeing a video game? Like, do you know what those were?
Yeah, sure. So I growing up, my father was an avid gamer. He loved playing games, and he'd always I think it was on like PlayStation 1. He'd always be gaming, and I'd always be sat next to him watching him play. Because when I was young, I just couldn't play them. And a lot of them were like shooters, or if they were like horror games and stuff, so maybe they weren't like age appropriate, or I was just too scared at the time to play them. I mean, I'm still scared to play horrors now, but my community just forces me to play them, so I do. But I mean, my earliest times would be just sat next to my father watching him game. That would be the earliest interaction I got with gaming, I think.
Nice. PlayStation 1, I mean, what a console. And especially when you talk about those two genres as well, you know, FPSs and for horror games, it kind of blew everything up in both those two genres. So
definitely. I remember he used to play like Duke Nukem.
Yes.
I think that was one of the first ever games I used to watch him play. And of course, like the original Silent Hill as well.
Oh, yeah.
I could never play it myself, but yeah. And we'd always have like a chipped PlayStation 1.
Oh,
so
yes.
So you go to the car boot sale every Saturday or Sunday or whatever it was, and we'd always buy like a big list of just like copied CDs. I know it's illegal, but I mean, I don't think they're going to come after Baby Peace. But
no.
But yeah, I remember like we used to go to car boot sales, and there would be some guy just selling loads of them in the back of a car, and yeah, it was just great.
Oh man,
funny.
Yeah. I never had a chip. I always wanted one. I always kept hearing about them. I kept hearing about them in school. My mates, I got a chip PS1. I was like, oh, did you? How do I get one of those?
Well, we never had a lot of money growing up, so I mean, I think it was just a case of just being broke and having that. I don't know if you remember, but like on the PlayStation, if your PlayStation broke or it just wasn't reading a disc, if you took the disc out, there was like a little eye in the middle.
Yes.
This is just coming back to me, but if you had like the little eye in the middle and you had like a cotton wool bud and you just like you'd clean it now and again just to try and read the disc, and that's just memories that are coming back to me. It's really funny.
Oh man, like I have vivid memories of like because I played a lot of Final Fantasy games, like disc changing and like the FMVs and stuff like that would break. You're like, please, and resetting it and resetting it, and it's like, no, this is so
remember
sad.
Blowing into memory cards?
Yes.
Yes.
I had a Mega Drive, so yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's funny.
Good times, man. And and I remember when the PS2 came out, like it was so much harder. Sony made it so much harder to chip the PS2, but people still got it. People found ways to do it.
Yeah, and I remember people would build their own like custom case. I don't know if it was like made by a certain company or something, but like you'd have a custom case. I don't know if it was actually by PlayStation, but it'd be like plastic invisible.
Yeah.
So you could actually see inside the PlayStation. I don't know if that was like custom or whether PlayStation actually made those, but I remember having like a see-through PlayStation, you could see inside it, and I thought that was really cool.
That's really cool. I don't think I've seen the PlayStation one. I remember like the Game Boy had one, and like certain control pads, but not a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Wow. No, not
Yeah, I
seen
remember PlayStation. Oh, yeah, that was cool.
that is awesome. Wow. I have to try and Google one of those.
Maybe they just ran out of paint or something. It was probably just someone at the back of a car boot sale. Maybe just
Yeah. They don't do it like that anymore, do they? They don't make like the PS5 see-through or anything like that, do they?
No.
You get it with desktop PCs, don't you? You get those see-through.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, you get like tempered glass and stuff like that, but yeah, you never really get it with a PlayStation. But I mean, yeah, I think the sensitivity inside the actual consoles these days is probably quite high. So I guess they probably don't want. I don't know. Maybe fiddling about. I remember when the new PlayStation came out, they were like, "Please don't vape or blow smoke into your PlayStation," because it's not intended for that. And it's just like, okay, yeah, that was really...
That reminds me of the Wii. I've seen the instruction manual of the Wii about things not to do with your Wiimote.
No. Oh my god, that's amazing.
There was some
I can
memes.
imagine.
There was some memes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I can imagine. Don't have any family members around you. Make sure the strap is like wrapped on. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Funny.
like there's pictures, there's illustrations, obviously, like the Wiimote halfway through the TV and stuff. Yeah. Goodness me. Oh man. Okay, so PlayStation 1, what the classic. I mean, so that was your dad playing games. So what do you remember the first time you like held the control pad and you played the game? And what was that, the PS1 still, or?
Well, do you know what? Now that we're talking about it, I actually remember even earlier than that. I was probably playing Zelda on a Game Boy. Okay. Yeah, I think Zelda, and I think maybe like some of the Pokemon games, I guess. Like I always had a Game Boy Advance or a Game Boy. I remember having a yellow one, like a brick one.
Yeah.
And I remember having a case, and I'd have like all my games and stuff in the case, in the pockets. And I think probably the Game Boy is probably the first thing that I ever had.
Right. Yeah. I remember a lot of people. I've spoken to a lot of people, obviously on the podcast. A few people have mentioned like parents got kids the Game Boy because they thought it was still a toy rather than it being a console type of thing, you know. So
yeah, cool.
It's quite funny actually.
Yeah. I think we moved around a lot when I was a kid, so I guess maybe like the Game Boy was just a good way of keeping me quiet on the go. So I can understand why they probably invested in that, but like we didn't have like a PC or like sort of like large consoles until later on, I think.
No, you beat me to one of my questions there. I was going to say, where did PC come in?
Yeah, so I think PC. So I didn't actually start with a PC. I tell a lie. So I did start with a PC, but it was just with the games that were like in cereal boxes. Okay. We never had like it wasn't like a dedicated gaming PC. I mean, I wouldn't even know what a gaming PC would look like in like the year 2000. But I don't even know if they had like dedicated graphics cards then. They probably did, but they probably weren't like amazing. But I remember playing on like cereal box games. It was like a football game that you got in the back of like in a cereal box.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably like the earliest, I guess, of what I can remember. There was like a couple of other games that I played, but I just cannot remember the life of me what they were. And I remember because so I actually looked this up a couple of months ago. There was a game branch or publisher or something, and it was called like Red Label, I think it was.
Okay.
And they used to do like so many different games, and they'd always like release all these different games. Like Pharaoh was one of them.
Right.
I think they also did like medieval Total War and stuff. I'm not too sure, but whenever I go into a store, I'd always buy like those Red Label ones. I'll have to look them up again and show you.
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
I think you're the first person on the podcast to mention cereal games, you know.
Oh, yeah?
Which is just crazy. Like, it's a thing. And it's just crazy to think about that now. That you never even think about like getting a game and a bloody your box of Rice Krispies, would you now?
I don't know if that's a good thing, but I don't know if I'm showing my age or not.
It's a shame. I think they should bring it back. Come on, Sony.
Yeah,
come on, Nintendo. Sort it out.
I will eat as many Kellogg's as you want me to. Yes. Just give me my game.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Instead of having to pay like £100 for like Diablo or something, it's just like, right, if you buy 15 boxes of Kellogg's, we'll give you a Diablo key.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Steam keys.
Amazing.
Through it's made for it, isn't it? Yeah. Steam keys should be put into the printing of boxes.
I will eat as many pencil sharpenings as you want. Just give me my Diablo.
Yes.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Or get a 3 month subscription to like Final Fantasy 14 or Diablo or one of those.
Yeah. You could have a Game Pass with Kellogg's or something, or Cocoa Pops. Cocoa Pops would be amazing.
Fed up with these Alton Towers tokens, man.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so going back to console then. So PlayStation 1, did you go PlayStation 2? Did you go different direction?
Yeah, I think so. I think well, my dad's so my parents split up, and then my dad I think had a PlayStation. I think he always had one, but I only ever remember watching him play it when they were divorced. So because I'd always go over my father's on the weekend, and then I would just watch him play games. But my funny enough, my grandmother absolutely loved the PlayStation as well. So we ended up getting a PlayStation 2, and apparently it was for us kids. I mean, I'm one of three, so apparently it was for us kids. But my nan used to love it. She'd always be playing like Casper, like Friendly Ghosts and stuff, and I was playing like Harry Potter and stuff. So we would always buy them, and she'd be like, "Right, go with your grandfather now. Go to Tesco's and get a new game." And we'd be like, "Okay." And she'd be like, yeah, just go ask him for a new game. And we'd be like, okay. And then we'd be there, we'd be looking at the games, and the games would be like 20, 25 quid. And my grandfather would be on the phone to my nan being like, this game is 25 quid. Are they going to play it? And my nan's like, yeah. and he's like, right, okay. So they're going to get their money out of it. She's like, yeah, 100%. And it was always the fact that we'd bring the game home and she'd just be on it all the time. But yeah, we'd be in school. We'd be like, nan. She'd be like, yeah, just playing. And yeah, it was great. So yeah, I think PlayStation 2 then, and then I went on to a laptop. I didn't even have a PC after that. I went on to a laptop. And that's when gaming started becoming more of a inquenchable thirst for me, I think. Do you want me to carry on in regards
to the laptop? Man. Yeah.
So I think, so I got my laptop, and I was playing, first of all, I started playing like Battle for Middle-earth. I think that was one of the earliest games I started playing. So Battle for Middle-earth, Knights of Honor. Knights of Honor 2 just came out after like 20 years, which was incredible. And Dawn of War games. So this was being sort of when I was in like year 7, year 8, so I would have been about like 12, 13. And Lord of the Rings was massive then as well. So like I was massively into Battle for Middle-earth and Warhammer as well. I loved. So when Dawn of War came out, I actually stopped collecting Warhammer, and I was just like straight on Dawn of War, which was unfortunate, but I actually loved having all the troops in front of me and not having to paint them. I was just like, oh my God, I can just click and spray paint them. I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to the Games Workshop ever again. But no, I did love Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth. I remember actually when Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2 came out, I couldn't wait for it, and I think it released in like the States or something before it came out into Europe. And I remember purchasing it off like eBay or something, and it arrived as 6 discs.
What?
So I don't know if you remember this, right? But do you remember when like installing games on a PC? You'd put 1 disc in, and then it'd be like, right, please put in disc 2.
Yeah.
So I'd have to take the discs out, put disc 2 in, take disc 2 out, put disc 3 in. Yeah, I did that 6 times. It was, yeah, honestly, well, 5, I guess, but yeah, it was incredible to install that. So yeah, those were and I think that was the earliest online gaming I did as well, because I play online with my buddy from school, Johnny, because we was both Johnny, so it's funny. We'd both play online on Dawn of War. Yeah, it was fun.
Wow. Oh my God. I've never heard of a game with 6 discs before, ever. Like, Forced most, I've heard.
Yeah. Honestly, it came and it was just like different like flaps inside the case. You know, I was like, why is this case the size of the friggin' Hobbit book? You know, but realized then there was like 6 different CDs in it. So.
Oh my God. And kids talk about cloud gaming now, being downloading games and stuff. Like, they don't know what pain's like. honestly, it's crazy. 6. I was watching a video on YouTube the other day about this game on the PS1 actually, and you could play it as an RPG, and you can play it with your mates, so you can have 4 people be a character on this RPG. And if hypothetically you did that, it would take the entire memory card to play just that one game with your 3 mates. I mean, gaming back then was just something else. So
yeah, it's crazy.
By the way, your nan's cool. By the way, miss put that in there.
My nan, oh mate, she's into anime these past few years, and she's just been, oh my God, she's completed Crunchyroll, completed Funimation, like completed Netflix. Like it's just nuts, man. Honestly,
hell yeah.
she's crazy. Absolutely, she's a massive weeb.
No, she sounds amazing. My granddad was like my foray into gaming actually, because he gave me his old like MS like DOS thing, and floppy disks and stuff, and then he got me my Mega Drive, and then PlayStation 1. But yeah, I used to go to my nan and granddad's house, and I used to play like this like Brunswick bowling game. But it wasn't like it wasn't Casper, man. It wasn't Casper. But
That sounds awesome, though. I like that.
yeah,
That's
we used
funny.
to make our own little characters on this. Like I think it was made by THQ, so it kind of had the same engine as like the
Okay.
WWF SmackDown games. So I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
didn't get tattoos with these bowlers or anything like that, but you know,
Yeah.
But we had our own little bowler, you know.
Yeah. Well, THQ done Dawn of War games.
Yeah.
They done like the early Warhammer games. Yeah. So that's cool.
No.
They were massive. They were massive.
Yeah, they were really cool. So again, you answered one of my fantastic questions about online gaming. So I mean, again, I know that's something has that really left? Because you mentioned a lot of games back then, and like is that's it then? Peaceful online gamer.
No. I guess no. I guess it went from like online to offline very quickly, as in terms of going to LANs. Because so when I had my laptop, I was playing Call of Duty 4, and I was like trying really hard to compete at a professional level, but unfortunately the laptop that I had was just too bad, and I literally like so my family had a car business, and I would do valeting down there, and what I do like every weekend was I just go and valet a bunch of cars for like weeks on end, and then eventually I managed to save up enough money, and we went and bought a better laptop. Again, could still only afford a laptop. My family were well off, but it was just that they had this mindset of making me work for my money as opposed to just giving me things, right? Which is probably best. It worked out. Yeah, so like I worked in the valeting and managed to save enough money, got a better laptop, and then I started competing a little bit better. I actually remember attending my first LAN, which was I-33, I think. No, sorry, it was I-37, which was I can't remember what year, but it would have been around like 2009 mark kind of thing. I would have been like 15, 16. And I remember competing with my team, and they were all laughing at me because I was just there with my laptop, and I had a mouse attached to the laptop, but I just still use the keyboard on the laptop. So like I was trying to graft, I was trying to grind, trying to do a lot better, and eventually then I did end up getting a PC. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that says a lot of dedication, though, doesn't it? If you're there with your little laptop and everyone else has got their big displays, and you were still competing, I'm sure you kicked some ass. I'm sure.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun because like I think a lot of people didn't really believe me when I was like on a laptop just playing on like 60, 70 FPS against people who were having like 125, 250. Back then as well, if you played Call of Duty 4, I mean, it's still a thing now, but you needed 125 FPS or 250 FPS to hit certain jumps.
Right.
For some reason, that's just the way the game worked. So like there'd always be people like with incredible movement, and then I'd still be able to kill them because I was young and my reactions were a lot quicker. But it was just the fact that I was on like a 60 to 70 FPS PC, and they were like, you can't do half the jumps. And I was like, I know, but just let me shoot people. It's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun. And then I attended the next one then, which was like I-40, and I went to a couple of LANs in Ireland. And yeah, it was fun.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good.
And so young as well. So I mean, let's talk about that for a bit. Because again, I've not really had someone that's done like proper competitive play, like on the podcast before. So let's talk about that. What was the mindset going into that in terms of like when did you know you were, should we say, S tier, should we say, at these games, and what was the moment where you thought, okay, yeah, let's go into that and let's do this, because like that's a whole different mindset, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was very different back then. I was just playing in a Call of Duty lobby, and I think I just ended up chatting with some people. And their fathers were very welcoming, and so the fathers basically had Ventrilo. I don't know if you remember what Ventrilo was. They would it's like TeamSpeak. It's like Discord. What is
okay?
Yeah. What Discord is. But Ventrilo was like basically just a very bog standard voice communication program. And people would use this to communicate with each other, and I ended up playing with their sons, and it turns out that one of them was actually in Cardiff. I went to the cinema and stuff with them, and I think their fathers kind of like took me in and like kind of like sheltered me a little bit and like made sure I was gaming to the best I possibly could, because obviously they had kids themselves. I think they were just looking after me. Like whenever I'd be on at like midday, like 12 o'clock, 1 p.m, like grinding COD 4, they'd be messaging me like, why aren't you in school? And I'd be like, it's GCSEs, that's it. They're like, shouldn't you be revising? I was like, nah, the exam's done, bro. But, yeah, so like I used to stay up like really late as well, just grinding COD until like 2, 3 a.m. It got to the point where we actually managed to convince my school that I had like some form of narcolepsy, and that's why I was falling asleep in maths.
Wow. Oh,
Because
wow.
I literally be asleep in maths. I don't know what happened. Like I had vivid memories back then, but I remember like the school just being like, oh, forget it, just leave him. If he wants to game all night, then just leave him. Because I remember being asleep on the desk, and I got bloody flies in my room. The teacher, one of the students would be like, Miss Jordan's sleeping again, and she'd be like, oh, just leave him. And I just remember, I mean, I did okay in school, but yeah, I did spend a lot of hours, late nights and stuff, just grinding COD.
Wow.
Yeah.
Goodness. Yeah.
How I got into the competitiveness, I have no idea. I don't know if you remember, but there was a league called Clanbase, and Clanbase was basically the esports league at the time for pretty much every game that was going. So yeah, that's how it developed, really. Just
Yeah.
playing on Clanbase. Yeah, it's cool.
It's crazy. It really is. I mean, and but yeah, I'm glad to hear stuff like that about the dads and stuff like that. You know, that's
Yeah.
that's good. That's a good. Yeah, you know, there's got to be balance to everything, hasn't there, as well? So you know, if you're really good at something, it's like the whole education thing, isn't it? Like if you are really good at something, sometimes the traditional education route's not good. It's not made for everyone, is it? Let's be honest.
No, I hated sitting in a classroom. It was horrible. And the funny thing is, I remember being sat in class, and I'd be there with my notepad and pen, and the teacher would just be talking about stuff, and I'd just be there just drawing the maps in Call of Duty.
Wow, yeah.
Like drawing the layouts, and I would just be drawing the layouts, and I'd be running like I'd be doing like tactics where like my routes would be, you know, just trying to strategize new routes and where to nade and where to smoke and stuff. And I think, yeah, I was just lost. I was just lost to COD at that point. But I remember one of the dads, they had a server hosting company. So they gave me a server for me to like practice on and train on and stuff. So that was very helpful as well.
Wow, yeah. I mean, just again, it's just funny who you meet, isn't it? And the circumstances around it, like how they shape our futures. God.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Okay. So, is there like so going back just slightly before then, because I know you mentioned a friend already, or a couple of friends, in fact, but like how, and you mentioned your nan as well. So, is there any like memories, any stories you can think of about family or friends that like is there a certain like game you played, or is there a certain like scenario that was funny or memorable in some way?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I could probably, yeah, I guess I could probably come into this. So basically, when I was younger, my because my school was so far away, my parents wanted me to go to a good school. So I had to go really far to travel to school, which meant that when school had ended, it was very difficult for me to. At the end of the day of school, it was very difficult for me to hang out with friends outside of school because everyone was far away. So I think that was another reason why I was pushed to online gaming, to meet friends and meet people around the world. I ended up meeting one guy called Cody, who's from Canada, and the first ever FPS game that I played was Medal of Honor, and I met him through Medal of Honor. And then eventually we went on to Call of Duty, and I think like maybe like one of the funniest things was I don't even know. I'm trying to think. Sorry,
No,
I'm trying to think of a funny moment.
No.
I guess the funny thing is like I guess this is where my name came from. I guess so. Like when at the time I was attending this stage school called Stagecoach. And through Stagecoach, I did this Lambda exam. It's like a London art school of dramatic arts or things, right? So it's like a grading system where you have in music where it's like 1 to 8, and for my grade 6, I did this piece, this like monologue on this book called Private Peaceful,
Right.
and it's a really interesting book if you like reading. It's about two kids, two brothers who go to war. I think it's like World War One or World War Two. And one of them's too young to be drafted. The other one's old enough. They end up going together because he lied about his age. And it turns out then that one of them dies and the other one doesn't. They come back and he's Private Peaceful. So it's quite a sad thing, but it was a really interesting read. And I just took the Private Peaceful and I was playing Medal of Honor, and then I just realized how cringy the private was going through the thing. The funny thing is that we had clans back then, and when we had clans, we had tier systems, right? So in these tier systems, you had like recruit, veteran, officer, chief, or sergeant, like that kind of thing, right? I mean, you're talking like 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds just making up some sort of tier system. So unfortunately, I realized for a long time I was just stuck at private because I had private in my name.
Right.
So I was like, they were like, right, we want you to go to Sergeant Peaceful, and I was like, I really want private peaceful because it's my name. They were like, yeah, you're gonna have to drop it. I was like, okay, fine. So I was like, I dropped it, and then it was just like going through the tier system again, and yeah. So it was really funny. That was the clan system.
Oh wow.
Tiers.
And I mean, yeah, I was going to ask you obviously how you came up with your name. That's what, was this. Is this in the book? Was it spelled peaceful with double E or BA or?
No, I think at the time when I made my creator name, Peaceful was very, very difficult to get hold of. I tried getting it. I think I had it on Twitch like 6 months after I started streaming because they were like, "Hey, this username is now available." So I was like, So I asked the community, and they were like, "Now we prefer PWE." So I was like, "Okay, sure." And it is quite funny because they just call me Peaceful, or they call me, like P, or things like that. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Good old classic bullying from the community, eh?
Yeah. They're the ones that also give me almost give me heart attacks when I'm playing horror. So why should I listen to them, right?
Exactly. Why do we still hang out with these people?
Honestly.
So in terms of because again, it's interesting talking to yourself, Peaceful, because you've got such a professional side to your streaming career, so we say. But how much time do you spend offline, not on Twitch, not on streaming, for yourself in terms of playing games for yourself casually? Is that something that you do a lot of, and how much? And if so, what do you play?
So there was a point where I probably went 5 years where I told myself that if I'm playing a game, I should be playing it on stream. Yeah. And I'm still a very big believer of that. I still believe that if you're playing a game, why not stream it? Mm-hmm. But then, as of recently, I don't know if it's because I've gone through some sort of depressing stage, or maybe I'm just so tired. I just kind of I've been playing Diablo off stream, only because I feel like it's boring content to stream.
Yeah.
I mean, I can talk. I mean, I am more tired these days, but I can talk and I can try and communicate with people in chat and stuff. But at the end of the day, the game, if it isn't for everyone, it isn't for everyone. And when you're doing the same sort of similar stuff over and over, it can become a little bit samey, and people will just rather lurk. So I think I've been playing Diablo a lot off stream. I've been trying to focus a little bit more on quality over quantity. Mm-hmm. So whereas before, where I'd be doing 12 to 15 hour streams every single day, obviously I've got a job now, and it's I kind of try and focus on the quality more, and try and focus as well on other social platforms. So even though if I played Diablo on stream, it might not be good content for the community, at the same time, I'm also very mindful that it's not good quality. It's not good content for YouTube.
Okay.
So I could be playing something that's like a story game, or Only Up, or Amnesia, or something, or Outlast, or something that's actually going to fundamentally go further than the stream and go on to other social platforms as well, right?
Yeah.
I'm very mindful of that. And yeah, aside from that, I've started playing football again. I say started, I've been playing football for about a year again.
Yeah.
Maybe 4 or 5 hours a week, so that's nice.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying that.
No, that is good, man. That's good. But and it's about, like you mentioned again, should we say going inward in terms of depression or I mean, how much is that to do with the grind? Because again, I can imagine with the type of content that you make, and also that combined with the competitiveness, there's probably a bit of that in there, is there?
What do you mean? Sorry.
So it's kind of talking about mental health, I suppose, and talking about how much you have to balance everything. Do you think to make sure that you're okay and that your community's enjoying what you do and stuff like that?
It annoys me if I'm not. It annoys me if I'm not best at the game.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult for me because when I used to go 12, 15 hours a day, it was great because I was at the top of my game. I knew I could progress and I had the time to do it. But now it's if I want to grind a game, I don't think I have the time to do so. So when I'm playing games like Valorant or even just Diablo, right? Diablo, you want to be a first person to get to level 100, or you want to at least be good enough at the game to be able to teach people who are going to come to your stream, and you can be oh, you want to do this, oh, you want to do that, oh, I'll show you how to do this. And it's it does gnaw at me a little bit that I'm not that much of a skilled gamer in my eyes anymore. Which sucks because that was one of the main reasons as to why I wanted to stream, was to show off a little bit of what I could do and help people and try and guide and give back to those that gave to me originally in the past.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does suck a little bit that I'm just there primarily to try and give entertainment value through I don't know, maybe chat interactions and things like that, and things that I say and do, as opposed to the actual skill that I'm playing the game at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that does. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah. Okay.
And again, but I mean, be Peaceful. I mean, let's be honest. The amount of genres and the amount of games you've played for so long, and you've been like so good at them all, based on what you've just been saying. That is a huge testament to you. That's a crazy amount of dedication and commitment and quality gaming. When you look back on that, I mean, I know you've mentioned like the now and maybe it's not a good patch now, but looking back on what you've achieved, like how do you feel about that? What an eclectic like set of games you've played that you've been so good at. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I think the people who are closest to me know this. I think it's just more of a validation for myself. I think I spent a lot of years seeking validation from certain family members or certain friends.
Yeah.
And eventually I managed to flip the switch, and I said to myself, okay, well, I can just get validation for myself. If I know that I can compete and I can do better, then it's down to me to do so. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think, there's lots of achievements. Like so many different things in lots of different games that I've managed to achieve. I actually made like a list, and I can't remember what I've done with it. But yeah, there's things like Sea of Thieves, like Pirate Legend, and like I had like the Recluse in Destiny, and being in the top 3 of Fortnite in Wales, and wow. Like competing in Valorant and like against Immortals and stuff. I mean, and obviously Call of Duty, like playing at a high level. It's difficult for me. I think I'm very harsh on myself, and I think that's why I get very anxious and very annoyed. It's never directed at anyone, but it's more myself. The thing is as well, I'll also, when I'm playing games online, a lot of people will ask me to play, and I'll always be more inclined to say no. And the reason being is because I want to play solo. Mm-hmm. And even though I'm playing squads where I'm playing like solo, like I'll play solo against threes, or solo against duos, or solo against quads. And the reason I'm doing it is because I want to be better myself. Mm-hmm. And I feel as though if you're more confident as a solo player, you're definitely going to be more confident as a duo.
Yeah.
So I know that if I can look after myself as a solo, I know I'm not going to be anyone's back foot whenever I join a team.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the main approaches that I take. It's not because I don't want to play with anyone. It's just purely because I want to be better myself.
Yeah.
Before I join a team.
100%. I mean, it's that's the level you got to go to. It's not even the top 1%, is it? It's the top 0.01%, really, isn't it? You want to be, and you want to achieve. I was going to ask you actually. So what's that process like in terms of like moving from like one game to another? Because again, you said that you have to kind of almost like hone in, learn the game, kind of almost pick it apart, I'd imagine, isn't it? Really, in terms of like how does this game tick? How can I be like the top percent on it? Talk us through that process. If you go from one, like, I don't know, like an FPS game to like a MMO to whatever. Yeah.
I mean, you could take Diablo, for example. Diablo isn't a game that I would necessarily play. I remember playing Diablo 1 and 2, but I actually detested Diablo 2 because you couldn't reset your skills, and I had issues with... I have an issue, actually, with top-down games where I feel disconnected from my character. And that's probably because of just playing FPS all the time, but I feel disconnected from my character because it feels so far away, as stupid as it sounds. I like being... like, if you look up FIFA, like, I play FIFA offline, but I play career mode, and it's literally just me, and I know that I'm controlling my player, and like I can make changes and stuff to my player to make sure that I try and get the best possible outcome. When I'm playing games like that, I do feel quite distant. So when I'm playing Diablo, the issue that I get is I get to a point where I pick a game apart so much that I'm not playing the game. So the other night, for example, I was just sat on a call with my two buddies, and they'd been playing Diablo a little bit longer than I have, and they understood the game a lot more. And I'm there, and I'm trying to like learn the game, but I'm also on like lots of different websites looking at different builds. And it gets to a point where I'm like an hour or 2 hours in, and I'm still not settled on a build that I want. And that's when I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. Like, why can't I just get into the game? And I think that's the main block for me, where I get overwhelmed with the amount of information, and then I just give up. I'm like, I can't do this. So when I'm going into something that's like a completely different genre, I do struggle. I might not show it, but I really do struggle. But if it's like an FPS, I'm actually pretty capable of just picking it up and doing well, because as long as I have a sensitivity calculator, I know my aim and my coordination is always going to be the same.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, totally. So, again, we already talked a little bit about it, but like, I mean, I feel like it's a bit redundant to say the question, but I'll say it. Do you play games to get achievements, trophies, and stuff like that? But I mean, I'd imagine the answer is yes to that. But I mean, what are your favorite like achievements and trophies that you've got, like platinums or whatever over the years?
Well, there's a 10-year achievement for not playing the Stanley Parable. 10 years.
Really?
There's a Steam achievement for not achieving for not playing Stanley Parable for 10 years, and I love that. I think that's a really cute achievement.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think one of the other big achievements that I have is the fact that I have cases from CS:GO that are from 2011 that I just haven't opened. And I obtained them. I obtained them years ago, and I just haven't opened them. So it's just little achievements like that. But for me, I think the achievement for me, it's not so much like the little in-game things. You know, I don't care about 100%ing a game, because at the end of the day, it's not that I know that I can. I mean, you can, right? Everyone can 100% a game. It just takes time, right? And it's just not that entertaining to watch someone collecting all these different trophies on stream. But I think the biggest achievement for me would be to be competing at a high level, like Valorant, for example. Like I won't play, if I play Valorant, I won't play public. I'll just play ranked. That's all I play, because I just don't see the fun in it. So I think the achievement for me is just winning.
Yeah.
And being one of the top players, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not like Steam achievements or anything like that. So.
No, it reminds me of a chat I had with a shout out to Sneevel. She's Resident Evil speedrunner, and she's obviously very very fast, very very good at playing Resident Evil 2 remake. But she's not platinumed it, and in fact, it's like
okay, yeah.
And it's just funny, isn't it? How again, just different ways to play the game, isn't it?
Mate, I'd be playing Fortnite at like I'd be playing Fortnite at a top level, and you'd look at my tasks or challenges and stuff. I haven't completed any of them because I just complete them on the fly, and if I achieve them, then amazing, great. But like, I actually used to play Fortnite, and at the end of every season, I'd pay my friend Jeff to log into my account and complete my battle pass for me.
Okay,
that's what I used to do. Yeah. So I'd pay him to complete the battle pass for me, and yeah, that's what I did. Yeah.
Oh my god, you're paying people to. That's amazing.
Yeah, to just complete my battle pass. Yeah. Because there's only certain things you can do in public mode. So I'd be like, right, I'm only playing arena. I'm only playing like certain parts of the map and stuff. Can you please just, here's a couple of quid, just go and finish my battle pass for me? And he'd go and do it. He'd go and do it.
Amazing. Oh wow. Okay, fair enough then. Again, because of your it's one of the reasons why I wanted to chat to you, Peter. I thought you'd be very interesting to talk to from a very different angle on many things. We'll talk about streaming very shortly, but also just the games you played, the and the diversity of them all. But this has been an interesting question for you, I think. So, if you were stuck on a remote island and you could only have with you 3 games on that island forever, you can't play anything else. And I think that would be difficult for you. What would those games be? You can play online. You can play with like DLC or mods, even if you wanted to as well.
Okay.
What would they be?
Sure. So I guess I got to try and think of like the longevity of it, right? So it's probably, will the game still be creating content that I can download?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess maybe like Ark, I think would be a good one. Just because of how many maps and how many mods and how many times they produce DLCs. Maybe with Ark 2, I guess I could probably go with Ark 2. As long as I can go on the island next year, that'd be great. I think, so that one, I guess it would have to be like multiplayer games. So maybe like, I don't know, I'm playing a lot of DMZ lately. That's quite fun. I don't think I'd play single player games because I think I'd get bored after like 3 or 4 runs.
Yeah.
So that if it was going to be a single player game, it'd have to be a big one. Maybe like Witcher, because that's a very big game.
Yeah.
And maybe like Black Flag or something from Assassin's Creed, because that's again pretty big. Actually, no, you know what? I'd go for Skyrim, Black Flag, and Ark.
Right. Okay, you go for 2 there. You go for 2 single players.
You can't pick single player?
You can. Yeah, you can. Oh, I was just surprised you did.
Oh man, no, scrap Black Flag, because I'll be on a boat and I'll be like, why am I on this island when I could just be building my own boat? And I'll be. Although I could take inspiration from Black Flag. I could become my own pirate of the islands.
Could do.
That'd be interesting. No, I think I'd probably go for Destiny then, because Destiny is always pumping out new content. So Destiny, yeah. So Destiny, Ark, and can't remember what the other one was.
Skyrim. Yeah.
Skyrim, yes.
Yeah.
Only because they have constant mods, right? So
They do. There's a lot. Goodness me.
yeah.
Okay. Are you someone that has video game collectibles? Do you collect stuff? And if so, what are your favorite things that you've collected over the years? If so,
Like game collectibles?
yeah, video game stuff. Yeah.
Just the cases, I guess, from CS:GO. I guess it's not a physical item, but I've held on to those cases since they were like 2-3p, and now they're worth 40 odd quid.
Right.
And I think they're just going to keep going up in prices. It's just an investment, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think probably just those. I'm keeping hold of them, and I keep them quiet.
Yeah.
Get a lot of random ads on Steam because they want to buy them off me, which is annoying.
I
But
bet.
I'm sure that will increase as the years go on. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. So we mentioned mods already, haven't we? So do you play much modding stuff? And if so, I'd imagine it would depend on the game, wouldn't it? But what are your favourite mods over the years?
Mods. Are we talking in game or maybe like stream? Or
In game. Well,
in game, yeah.
Stream
In game.
as well, actually. Yeah, never really thought about that. Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking like Dixpa's quite fun because it can mod your game a lot, and you can have certain skills that allow people to press your buttons and stuff, right?
Yeah.
In game, so that's quite fun. I think mods. I guess Arc is very good for mods. There's an S plus mod in there, or Structures Plus, which allows you to create a lot of different structures and have a lot more functionality. It's probably quite boring to talk about, but that's a very useful mod. I mean, I guess like modding Minecraft is fun. I mean, there's a lot like GTA is modded as well. I'd actually. Oh, do you know what? There's a very good mod actually. Right. So there's a very good mod for a game called Medieval Total War. Okay. And Medieval Total War was a great game at the time. I absolutely loved it. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2. I'm pretty sure it was the first one. And there was a mod that came out for it called the Third Age. And every single model was skinned to models from Middle Earth, from the Tolkien series, right?
Wow.
So everything was like Lord of the Rings. And at this time, I'd gone through a whole stage of playing Battle for Middle Earth, which I still do today. I absolutely love the game. I always install it every year or so. But yeah, I think that that Third Age mod was one of the best mods I've ever played ever.
That's the Third Age video game, isn't it? I think that was the RPG. I think it was Third Age.
Yes, I remember playing that game, and I almost hated Lord of the Rings because of it. Do you remember? It was on PlayStation 2. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I had it at one point. Yeah,
I was hot. Wait, or was it Conquest? Yeah, no, it was the Third Age. Yeah, because you play as like you have a dwarf, an elf, and a mage, I think
so,
or a swordsman or something like that. And it was like they were running along the same path as the Fellowship. Yeah. And it was just, I just hated it. I hated it so much.
It was a weird game.
It was turn-based.
Yeah. It was like basically Final Fantasy X, but with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
With a weird story, like you said, because you didn't actually play as the Fellowship. You played as like.
I think it was because of I think it was because of that game that I actually hated turn-based strategy games or turn-based games from then on, because I can't play Final Fantasy and I know how good they are, but I just can't play them. I just can't play turn-based. I hate it.
No, that's understandable. That's understandable. All right, let's talk about streaming then. So you mentioned you've been streaming for 5 years. Is that right?
Yeah, it's coming up to 5.5 almost.
Nice. Good stuff. So,
it's good.
What was the moment then? What were the moments that led towards like the first stream, and obviously, what was the feeling of clicking that live button like? And talk us through that journey.
I think so. So from my esports days, like as a kid, I think I always wanted to stream. I always wanted, not always stream, but I always wanted to create videos. I grew up with PewDiePie, right. And PewDiePie was an absolute idol for me. I just loved his Amnesia and the game, not his actual Amnesia. So I used to love watching him play games all the time. And I think I always wanted to be a YouTuber. I always wanted to be like PewDiePie. And I think from there, I always wanted to do something with content. And then it got to a point, but I was always in the back of my mind, I knew what a good stream looked like. I knew what kind of specs I needed to do this. and I needed to make sure that I had the right environment to do so.
Okay.
So I always held back. I always waited, and then eventually, back in like 2017 or 2018, I had a good job at the time. I managed to save some money. I'd moved back home to here, and I was like, right, you know what? If I'm gonna do it, it has to be now, because now is the right time for me. So I decided, yeah, let's do it. I did a couple of test streams, and then on February the 1st, I just went live for a long time, and I just went, okay, this is it. So. Wow. And bearing in mind, I mean, at the time, I'd already been in the scene for a long time, right? So I already had a lot of community friends, and something that really helped me as well was the people in work. I worked in a massive office. It was a call center, right? And it was sales that I was doing, which I loved anyway. But the people who I worked with were like a family to me, and I still talk to them now. I was literally the best man for my mate's wedding the other day, who I met in work 5 years ago, you know? I think they're the ones that really helped me with my channel and pushed me and kept me going, because they were very supportive, and like they were my first subs and stuff. And yeah, so I think I had the right people around me and the right environment and the right financial backup to do so.
Wow. I mean, that's fascinating. Again, just the idea for so many people, I think, probably listening to this, like the idea of like even talking about work and video games, like as something that can be supportive, is like, it's crazy. That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, I've been playing with the guys that I've been working with beforehand for a couple of months already. So I was just like, right, okay, let's do it. So
good stuff. So what was the first game you streamed? What was it?
PUBG.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, PUBG. And then I went on to Fortnite then.
Nice.
My PC at the time wasn't great, but it was good enough to stream and play Fortnite. And yeah, I just grinded the crap out of that. It was a lot of fun. I don't know if you know the game, but Battalion.
No.
Battalion was from the not creators, but it was based off of COD 4 Pro Mod, which was the game that I was playing esports with.
Right. Yeah.
From a young age. So COD 4 Pro Mod, it was based around that, and it was Battalion. Unfortunately, it didn't take off, but I was playing a lot of that at the time, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Let's talk about esports then, because it's now. I mean, you've been around for, around it for a long time then. So where do you feel like it is now compared to how it was before? Because I feel like it's a lot more accessible, should we say? I think it was something that was quite niche maybe 10 years ago, perhaps.
Yeah, so I did a talk actually in a university in Cardiff the other week to a bunch of students who were doing the esports course. Now, I think if esports was a course in school for college or university, I definitely would have took it, and I definitely would have stayed on from in school. So when I was 16, I left school. I went to join the army, didn't pass the health check, and then I ended up just being a bit lost. But if that esports course was there, I definitely would have took it. I think 100%. I just that. I mean, that would have given me a completely different path. Maybe it would have helped me. Maybe I'd be at a different stage as to where I am now, or maybe I would have sat in the classroom and absolutely hated it. I don't know. It may have deterred me from esports. But yeah, I think in terms of competitions and stuff as well, esports is still quite secluded, I think, because the Insomnia events I used to go to, the LANs, they've moved away from not just like tournaments and stuff, because it was always just a tournament. There was no expo hall, but now there's an expo hall, and it's a much bigger venue, and there's a lot more sponsors and advertisement, and like even the army is there, and you see that it's not that they've pushed the tournament side away.
Yeah,
you can definitely tell that there's been a less attention towards the tournament side of it. Like you can tell just by the prize money, right? Like we was competing for maybe like £2,000 back in like 2009, 2010, and it's still only like £2,000 to £5,000, I think, in CS:GO.
Right.
So it hasn't actually that increased, but this is just one event that I'm talking about. There is obviously other events, like Fortnite, where they held the first ever £1 million prize pool. And you see a lot of prize pools in Asia that are massive, like Dota and League. So in terms of the EU, I would say that it has become slightly more accessible, and I wouldn't say that it's more achievable, because now that it's more accessible, it means that there's a lot more people involved. Yeah. I think the real money comes from sponsors and advertisement. I think back when I was playing, it was very difficult to get an Intel sponsor. Like you couldn't get an Intel sponsor, you couldn't get an Ace sponsor or Samsung or but it's nice to see now that you have like Red Bull or you have like Monster and you have like all these big you have these big names finally investing in esports, which is definitely a bonus for us. So I wouldn't say that there's more money in prize pool. There is, but not as much as you would think. But the sponsorship is definitely helping.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a fascinating intake. Thank you. And like I like what you said as well about the course situation and going back to university and talking about that, because again, our local university, I know a lot of our locals here do. I think they're part of the esports scene as well, and it's nice to see it just being talked about. Like again, our age when we were younger, it was never even an option. So.
No. I mean, it was always it was frowned upon, right? And the thing that I found out when I did this talk was like I was talking to the teachers there, and they were like, look, like these kids that you're going to be speaking to, or these young adults that you're going to be speaking to, a lot of them would have just dropped out of school. Like they would have had nothing, right? Or like no education to move forward with. But the esports course has opened it up for so many young adults to actually further their career and actually look for something. Yeah. And even if they don't get anything out of it, they're still getting, even if they don't get a job or in esports or anything after it, they're still learning about what the gaming sector is all about, which is good.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Okay, back to streaming. So
sure.
You hit Twitch partner 3 years ago. What was that journey like? And then how did you go about to hitting partner again? How did it feel? Talk about that.
Yeah, it was quite funny. So I was looking. I'd been in a couple of teams from Fortnite, as in like a couple of different just smaller teams, and I was kind of I was doing my own thing in Fortnite where I was making maps. I was hosting competitions like 1v1 tournaments and stuff, and my viewership was going up. And I was like, right, I really want to find an organization now. I really want to take it to the next level. So I ended up contacting Endpoint. I don't know if you know who Team Endpoint is.
Oh, I've heard of them. Yeah, but I don't know much about them.
Sure, they're like one of the biggest organizations in UK. They have a top CS:GO team, and they have the top like Rocket League team. And they're a fantastic organization. And I joined them as part of their stream team, which was a great move. And then within like a couple of months of being with them, maybe like 3-4 months, I got partnered on Twitch. So that was so that was exciting.
Yeah.
Very fun. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. Excellent. And now, I mean, you're on Twitch. You mentioned YouTube as well. I mean, talk. So, do you do? I don't know if you do anything like on TikTok or anything like that, or have you thought about like Kick, and stuff like that? Where do you see like streaming as a general, or content creation as a general subject at the moment? Where do you see yourself in there? What do you think of it as a general thing?
In streaming, sorry, what do you mean?
So yeah, let's talk about YouTube then for a moment. So I know you've got a YouTube channel. So do you stream live on YouTube, or have you considered it, or do you do video editing for that, or?
Sure. So the lead up to TwitchCon, during the lead up to TwitchCon, I was having issues with my channel for a long time, where for some reason I got, long story short, Twitch wasn't supporting me, and I got very frustrated because I was losing out on money. I got very frustrated with it. Kick came up onto the scene. They're doing phenomenally well. It would be stupid for me to look the other way, I think, personally, as a creator. Before TwitchCon, I was contemplating whether to drop my partner and to multi-stream to several different platforms at the same time. Since going to TwitchCon, the lead up to TwitchCon, Twitch actually reached out to me and they fixed an issue with my channel that actually allowed me to create more money now. I'm not saying that it's like any kind of split or anything. It's to do with the bits. It was to do with the bits functionality on my stream. For some reason, people just couldn't purchase any or use any. Right. It was a very weird situation. And then they actually fixed it on the lead up to TwitchCon. And when I went to TwitchCon, I met the CEO. I actually had a photo with him. It was really cool. He's a really nice guy. And at TwitchCon, I felt... People always say that when you're partnered on Twitch, there's no reason for it because you don't benefit. But when I was at TwitchCon, I actually felt more like a partner. I felt like I was not appreciated, but a little bit more respected. Like I felt like I've spent 11,000 hours on your platform. It's nice to actually finally get a little bit of nice treatment back. So that was fun. So when I got back, I did contemplate, like I'm still not fully back yet, but I'm still contemplating whether I'm going to do multi-streaming or not. I need 1,000 followers on TikTok as well, because I'm currently at like 640. But my YouTube has been my main focus right now, where I'm creating a lot of content for it. I've got a really good editor now. She's amazing, and we're trying to push my content on YouTube. And like yesterday, I don't know if you saw my tweet, but for the first time ever, somebody actually came from my YouTube channel into my stream, and they went, "Hey, I just watched your YouTube video." And for me, like for the first time in over 5 years, I was like, wow. Oh shit, okay, people are actually going to join my stream from watching my YouTube content, right? Yes. And this is coming from so many years of creating content on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. And yeah, it was amazing. It was incredible to see that happen for the first time. It felt good.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's about, isn't it? That's why we spread our wings so far out, isn't it? Because you hope that the collective journey will take your content to the next level. So
yeah. I think it's silly to. I know there's a lot of people who are not happy with Kick. I mean, they're focusing on the negatives. Like the TOS situations and maybe like copyright and things like that. But at the end of the day, if you don't give it a go, then if you give it a go for 6 months and say the platform just breaks down, right? Platform just disappears. It's been shut down. It's no longer existing. Those viewers that you gain on Kick are still going to be looking for you. As long as you're good at pushing your socials on your streams, they're still going to look for you. They're not going to have a platform to use anymore. So where are those viewers going to go? They're going to go and watch their favorite streamer, which is you, that they've been watching for the past 6 months, So I'm always a big believer in giving everything a go. There's no reason to shut the door on something.
Yeah, 100%. And like you said, no matter what your view is on Kick, there's a reason why Kick exists, right? Because not everything is not everything is sugar and rainbows on Twitch or on YouTube. So there's a place for it, isn't there?
It's not all rainbows on Kick. It's not. It's it's still very behind. It's got no bot functionality. It's got no extensions. It's got no it's got a lot of things missing. But at the end of the day, you can ignore all that and you can still stream on it. If it's just one extra click of the button, just do it. If your bandwidth allows you to. Yeah,
excellent. So streaming for 5 years, what are your favorite streaming memories? Is there like a favorite stream that comes to mind? Anything over the last 5+ years that comes to mind in terms of that was great?
Yeah, I guess I think it was late 2018, either late 2018 or 2019. I can't remember. I've been playing Fortnite for a long time, and I don't know if you know Aiden. He was Ghost Aiden. He plays Modern Warfare now anyway.
No, I don't think I no.
No, he was a very big Fortnite streamer at the time, and he raided me with like over 5,000 people, and I thought that was absolutely incredible. Because I remember the reason why it's so memorable is because I remember being in the car and I was on the phone to someone on the way back, and I was like, look, I'm struggling really hard lately. Like I'm struggling to play the game. I'm struggling to create content and stuff, and I just don't know if it's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, when I went live, I was literally sat there. I hadn't even started the game yet. I was in the category, and I had my teeth whitening gums in my mouth. And he raided me with 5,000 people, and I was like, Aiden, I'm literally putting my gums in my mouth. Like I was like, I don't talk like this. I was like, and the stream was going, the chat was going. They were like, quick, ring your mum, ring your dad. And I was just like, I can't do anything. I've got gums in my mouth. So I think that was a very memorable moment for me. That was a lot of fun. I mean, there's so many memorable moments. Honestly, there's things where people have created things for me in certain like games and stuff. Like one guy created a complete poster for me in VR. Like he was a very good artist and he did it in VR, and I thought that was incredible and put it into a video. Somebody else built like my entire emote in Minecraft, like a massive emote.
Oh wow!
Yeah, there's like surprises like that which will always I'll always hold dear to me. But yeah, and then there's obviously other achievements where I've maybe qualified for a certain tournament or had a certain memorable clip where I've done something insane on stream. Another memorable moment actually is when I went AFK. Sorry, am I talking too much?
No, you go. You're fine.
No. Okay. So like I remember being sat. I was on stream and then I went downstairs to get a drink. And as I was like sat, my PC and my desk and everything was over at the other side where there's a skylight. And when I went away, a massive spider came down on the cam and it went all the way down. And someone clipped this, right? And it's still in my folders. And it come down, and it's just like, yeah. And I come back and I sat down. And they're like, "Peace, don't freak out." They know I'm terrified of spiders, right? They're like, "Peace, don't freak out. Please watch this clip." And I was like, "The fuck is that?" And they're like, "That was a spider." I was like, "No." They're like, "Yeah." I was like, "When?" And they were like, "Just now." I was like, fuck. So I literally got up, I got my sister, I was like, right, you gotta come and help me find this spider now. And we was like shaking the chair and looking for it for ages. I could not find it for the life of me, but I didn't sleep a wink that night. But that was a very memorable moment for me. I thought that was really funny.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god.
To catch that on stream, just to see the spider coming down on the clip was just so funny.
Oh wow, that's hilarious. Fair play. That's so good. That's so good. Okay. I just had a. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention this. So yeah, one thing we're starting to do with this season, Peaceful, on Streamer Stories is I'm asking a previous streamer to ask yourself a question. They don't know if it was you, and after when we finish today, I'll ask you a question. You can ask a question for a future guest. So obviously, no one knows who's asking a question for who. So this is a good one, actually. I really like this question. So this is your question, Peaceful. You have no idea what this is. It's a good one. What is your proudest moment in streaming?
My proudest moment?
Yeah.
Oh. May have to cut for this one.
That's fine.
No. My proudest moment in streaming. I mean, obviously achieving partner was a very proud moment. I mean, there's so many different goals, like 1K, 2K, 3K, 5K, 10K. I mean, so many different goals. I guess my proudest moment, though, is it's never been about the numbers or maybe the status. It's the effect that I have on the people that are around me. So I think the proudest moments, I mean, when I was playing Fortnite, obviously I had a younger audience, and a lot of them were like 14, 15 at the time. And now, you know, like 3, 4, 5 years on, they're adults, you know, they're 18, 19, you know, they're in university. One of the guys I played with yesterday in DMZ, he's 19, he's 20 soon, he's in university. And I think one of the proudest moments for me is probably seeing them grow up and become adults as opposed to what they used to be in Fortnite, like being kids. And I would like to think in a way that my I don't know, my personality or my interactions with them really sort of helped them shift, because a lot of these kids were very not immature, but I would give them responsibilities like VIP. I would give them mod. I would integrate them into my streams, and I'd give them a lot of responsibility of being on stream with me. So I would like to think that they grew with the stream. And I think I think it's not just a proud moment. It's more of an ongoing thing where I'm proud of all of them for becoming respectable adults. So I think that's what I'm most. It's not a proud moment, I guess, but
yeah, it is.
It's an ongoing moment. It's an ongoing moment.
100%.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've, you know, personally speaking, I've done like a lot of like management courses and like leadership and stuff like that. And Peaceful, you know, you're an obvious leader for your community, you know, and you take that with a massive badge of honor, you know, and it's really good to see. You know, it really is.
I hope they don't watch this. They're gonna hate it. They're gonna hate me. They're gonna be, I'm gonna get so much stick.
Streaming's weird though, isn't it? Like, we're doing it as a hobby, right? Or in some cases, obviously, like as a career, and I can totally respect that. But there's a certain leadership, there's a certain mentoring, there's a certain, you know, responsibility. Yes, there is, and
yeah, of course.
It often. It's not the reason why we do what we do, but it becomes a big part of it in the journey, doesn't it? So
I'm one of my idols is Ninja. I know a lot of people don't like him because it's probably cool not to like him, but you got to respect the work that he's done for streaming and the amount of attraction he's gained from the public opinion. And he once said that if you're streaming, if you're streaming, you should be doing something positive with it. And I get that, and I like the way that he got to his size. I mean, as of recently, he said something because he was drunk and stupid, but in the past, if you look at his history, he's always done something positive with his streaming, and I'm a fully believer of that. I mean, I think it's good to have that responsibility and to especially when you have a young audience, it's more important. One of my younger audience members, actually, I say community members, he actually, I won't name him, but he came out to me. And I think he came out to me, like, I think I was one of the first people that he came out to. And I think that, again, it says enough in itself that it's a very proud moment, and they felt that sort of relationship with me, that they could share that with me, you know? Absolutely. So I think that's cute.
100%. Okay, final question, man. Final question, which is, would you give what advice would you give to anyone thinking of picking up streaming? The pros, the cons of it. What advice would you think about giving anyone thinking about it?
Sure. So I've always said, like, I've always been prepped for this question, and they always say, if you started streaming yesterday, what would be the first thing? What would be the advice you'd give yourself? And I think the advice I would give is to just surround yourself with positive people. Mm-hmm. If you surround yourself with positive people, then you are more than likely to achieve. And, if you get knocked back, they'll be the ones to pick you up again. So I think surrounding yourself with positive people is definitely a go-to. I think in the past, what I did was I was very much scared to remove certain people from my community. Even though they were toxic, I was scared to remove them because I felt like I needed the numbers, or I felt like I needed them to help me out in some sort of way. Like, one of the guys was actually an editor for me at the time, and I put up with the toxicness because I wanted my videos edited, right? Like, I was still paying him to edit my videos and stuff, but because he was like a channel manager, I was like scared of what he would do and what kind of impact it would have on me, because it wasn't just him, it was him with a group of friends, So it's always in the back of my mind, but I think it's better to have a community that is loving as opposed to a community that is full of toxic people, because that will rub off on the other people that you have around you, and they'll stop coming to the stream. And I think I found that out too late on, and I think I could have made a difference there. So yeah, surround yourself with positive people, and don't be afraid to get rid of toxic people.
That's fantastic advice. Yeah. It really is. No, it's I don't think we had many people say that, actually, but it's so important. Like, you can build so much off that, just off that. It's almost like so much such a simple bit of advice, but we all forget to do it. We all forget to do it, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, I think I used to get messages from people saying, "Hey, I was going to come to the stream today, but so and so's there, so I thought I'd better not." And then there's other people who would come and watch, but they would just lurk as opposed to talking normally, because that a certain individual is there, and it's not fair at the end of the day. And it takes a while for you to realize, because you don't realize it until you're actually living it, that if you got rid of that toxic person, your life actually becomes a lot more sweeter, and everyone around you becomes a lot more sweeter and chatty. So yeah.
100%. Yeah. Peaceful, that was brilliant. Thank you so much. That was I love that chat. That was really, really interesting, fascinating. One more time.
Really good questions.
Thank you, mate. One more time.
Yeah, really good.
Do you want to plug yourself, where we can find you? I know we got your banner below, so you can point downwards. But
yeah, sure.
Where can we find you on your socials?
Yeah, just type Peaceful into Google. As long as you type it correctly, like PWE, CEFUL. Just type that into Google, and you should be able to find me.
Get Peaceful a follow, guys. Absolutely brilliant content creator. Oh, thank you so much, mate. That was great.
No, it was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. Take care. Bye-bye.